Hey, today's class is Black Beauty. Dude, look who's volunteering, man. People with the darkest skin on the planet tend to be from South Asia. So when we say black, we don't think about South Asians. I felt like I was in Africa because it was a slave port, and the town was populated historically by Africans. And so it's like, so when you think South America, and when you think about Ecuador, and you think the indigenous peoples of Ecuador, and then it's people with Spanish ancestry of Ecuador, nobody thinks black Ecuadorians, but you roll into this town and you see that. And there's more diversity within Africa than between Africans and Europeans, for example. Like you look at Simone and I and you think like, oh, these two people are very different. But actually, it's quite possible that Simone and I are more genetically similar than Simone and Jenna. 2019, all of these women have African ancestry, okay? What do you make of that?
Why all of a sudden are all 5 of them black? Like, and I don't mean that to say like that they can't be, but I feel like this has never happened before. Like, why all of a sudden?
We measure skin pigmentation and to just kind of assess like the level of melanin in people's skins and in the darkness of the skin, depending on how much melanin and quality and so on. And people with the darkest skin on the planet tend to be from South Asia. And so when we measure skin color by taking a measurement right here, we have the spectrometer that we use for skin, and it tends to be people from South Asia. So when we say black, we don't think about South Asians. And so I just want to kind of point that out. The idea is in the United States, or maybe in lots of places other than South America, when people think about slavery, they think about the United States. I mean, you don't, as someone who's Caribbean, right? Because you're going to know a different history. But if you look at the size of the arrows, is an indication of the migration, the number of people who are migrating. And so look at the number of people in Brazil, and also slavery here, even on the western coast of South America, right? So like, for example, there's a little town in Ecuador, right up here, called Esmeraldas. And I remember when I rolled into that town one day on a bus, and I got there and I realized, oh my God, I felt like I was in Africa because it was a slave port, and the town was populated historically by Africans. And so it's like, so when you think South America, and when you think about Ecuador, and you think the indigenous peoples of Ecuador, and then it's people with Spanish ancestry of Ecuador, nobody thinks black Ecuadorians, but you roll into this town and we see that. But in any case, look at the number. It's not just North America, it's the Americas. In fact, there were only about 500,000 Africans who were taken to North America. That of the other 27 million or so were mostly in the South. So we work with in a favela in Rio, and these are kids who are part of the favela. And what we do is in Social 19, we raise money for them. It's an art project. These are kids who it's just a really poor favela, but there's a woman there who we work with who teaches. It's like an after-school program, and she teaches all sorts of art. And these are some of the kids, which is pretty cool, right? Like really, really cool kids. And they make paintings, and they paint the streets. But look at like these kids. They are descendants of West Africans. And by the way, I want to go back to something. When we say Africans, if you note where Africa is a huge continent, and Africa is the most diverse continent in the world. And there's more diversity within Africa than between Africans and Europeans, for example, right? So there's such an incredible amount of diversity of DNA. And so when we talk about Africans and in the Africans here in the West, what we're really talking mostly is West Central Africans. And so when you note that people tend to look a certain way, or have certain features, they have certain features, like, for example, setting you aside, but the two of you, if we took all of your ancestors, right, so you being Caribbean and you African American, if we took all of your ancestors and we kind of grouped them all, lined them all up, they would look on average very different than your ancestors, right? Because their ancestry is West African. And so when we think about, even to say African American, when those of us who study DNA and these issues are really thinking West African American, because East Africans, North Africans, South Africans, in many places throughout Central Africa look very different. There's very different bodies, very different types. So it's like the same as Simone and I. Like, you look at Simone and I and you think like, oh, these two people are very different. But actually, it's quite possible that Simone and I are more genetically similar than Simone and Jenna. But you wouldn't think that. And that's kind of skin sometimes can do a trick on us, because it's a very small part of our DNA in it, but it's the one that we see. And so it can kind of jump out. In Brazil, we call pardos. And pardos or pardas, in this case, since they're all girls, are mixed race people. And so you see like her, you see her African ancestry, but also all three of them. You see like, yeah, but they're also mixed. Got a lot of white blood. And all these kids, like, look at them. Like, look at her. She's very light skinned, but look at her hair. Look at her. They look very similar. She's just lighter skin, right? And so just look at how they're different. So this is like 45% of the population. So, but when we think about Black Americans, we think Brazil also, right? Like, let's just understand what we're thinking about here. By the way, that's a painting in my living room. These kids painted it for me. And it's 2 meters long. It's really cool. It's just a way of painting. I commissioned them to do it. Do you guys, three of you, know any of these women? Do you recognize them, or do you know who they are? Who do you recognize?
I don't know their names, but they obviously did pageants, and I know the girl in the middle, she committed suicide.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I recognize the girl in the middle, and then Miss Teen USA.
Mm-hmm. Miss Teen USA. Did she go further and win anything else, do you know? Yeah, so the woman on the left is Jamaican. Her last name is Singh, actually. So her mother is Afro-Caribbean completely, but her father, I think her grandfather her father's Asian Caribbean, right? Asian Black, Afro-Asian. So Singh would give it off, right? Singh is. And the woman, and the second woman is from South Africa. And then the woman on the right, that's this woman, Nia Franklin. She's from the US, and I just want to show you something. That's her family, okay? And I just found this photo, and I thought, okay, for the conversation that we're going to have, I thought it would be really nice to just put her family up. So she's Black. She's not like white Black. You know, it's not like, yet she's Black. So I don't even know what white Black is, but you know what I mean? Like, she's Black. She's anybody who would look at that family and say, that's an average Black family. It's not like, you know, you're not thinking anything other than that. Okay, so here's my question to you all, right? 2019, all of these women have African ancestry, okay? What do you make of that? What do you make of that? These are the most identified, they win the pageant, so whatever it means, the most beautiful women representing whatever, I don't know what that kind of stuff means, right? I mean, obviously it's just your facial features, you gotta sing and dance and speak and do other things, I don't know, but this is what we hold up as saying, in Miss World, Miss Universe, USA, Miss Teen USA, Miss America, to say like, hey, this is the epitome of beauty right here. So one of you, I just want to riff on this for a little bit, talk about it. Like, what do you make of that? Like, what comes to mind when you look at that photo and like, damn, okay, 2019. Who wants to go first?
Well, I definitely remember seeing like I think first it was like Miss USA came out, and I was like, oh, like she's black. Like I went to my mom, I was like, Mom, like Miss USA, she's a black woman. And then I saw Miss Teen USA, and I was like, oh, like Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, they're both black. And then I think like the other three came out, and I was just kind of like, and it's kind of sad to say, but I was just kind of like, huh, like why all of a sudden are all five of them black? Like, and I don't mean that to say like that they can't be, but I feel like this has never happened before. Like, why all of a sudden?
So you asked yourself that. Wow, whoa, what happened? What happened in 2019 that like, or in kind of 2018 to 2019 that this happened? Okay. Yeah. Did you come up with an answer, or
No.
you just asked the question?
I mean, I was happy. Like I'm still gonna be happy for them, but it was just like in the back of my mind, like, why? Like,
What's
I
up?
wonder why.
Yeah, KJ.
I thought it was kind of cool because usually when you see pageants, it's just all like white women. And when I was a kid, I used to do pageants all the time, and I never won. I was always like first runner-up, so like second place. So I thought it was really cool to see all those black women to who won, and now they're representing the United States, and representation matters. So that was cool.
And what's cool about it? Like for you, as a black woman, what's cool about that?
That I could maybe like, well, not me, I don't want to do pageants anymore, but let's say like a little black girl sees that and she's like, dang, I could do that too. Like that could be me. That could be me one day. I could do that.
And then I could be that.
Yes.
And what is it to be that?
To just like win a pageant, I guess. I don't know, pageants are weird. They're all subjective, and just a bunch of like people just judging you because you're pretty and you talk well or you dance a certain way. It's all subjective and stupid, but it's cool though because you got to win, so that's good.
Or you came in second,
Yeah.
or first runner-up, or second runner-up, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People always are like when Penn State loses a game by, I don't know, like one field goal. I'm like, dude, they only lost by one field goal, man. Like, that's not easy to do. I couldn't do that. You know, I couldn't come in second in a 100-meter or in a beauty pageant. So, like, okay. Jenna, how about you, man? What's it say to you? What's it mean for you?
I think I mainly remember Miss Universe because, like, I don't know, she looks the most different out of the rest of them, I guess. Like, her shorter hair, seeing that was, like, really nice for me because my hair was, like, a lot shorter during that time. And, like, you didn't really see a lot of women with shorter hair, especially curly hair. So, like, seeing her was really nice, I think.